In pretty much any organization, one of the absolute biggest sources of wasted effort and frustration is just a lack of clarity. So today, we're going to break down a really simple but powerful framework that is designed to fix exactly that.
Okay, let me ask you a question, and I want you to be really honest. Look around at your team, whether they're in the office with you or just online. Can you say with 100% certainty that every single person knows what it actually means to win in their role, for real?
Because, let's face it, the answer is usually no. And it's not for a lack of trying, right? People are busy, they're working hard, but their roles feel kind of blurry. They don't know what the real priorities are, which makes figuring out what a win is feel like a total shot in the dark. But the good news is, it doesn't have to be like that. There's a simple framework that can give every single role, from the top to the bottom, absolute, crystal clear clarity on what matters most. So, let's dive in. This whole thing really just boils down to three core parts. First, you've got the number one goal. Second, you have 1 to 3 guiding obsessions. And third, the Win-the-Week Scorecard. And trust me, each one of these plays a super distinct and crucial role. Probably the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think about driving a car. The goal, that's your final destination, where you're trying to get to. The obsessions, that's how you drive. Are you driving safely, efficiently? And the scorecard? Well, that's your dashboard, right? It's telling you your speed, your fuel, if you're actually on track to get there. All right, so let's pop the hood on that first piece, the goal. And this isn't just any goal. This is the big one, the long-term destination. Your number one goal, think of that as the finish line, about 12 months out. It's the one, single, totally measurable outcome that this role is responsible for, period. At the end of the year, it should be a simple yes or no question. Did we get here or not?
Now, for a goal to really work in this system, it's got to have a few things going for it. It has to be time-bound. We're talking 12 months. It has to be based on an outcome, a result, not just, activity. It's got to be measurable, a clear yes or no. And this one is huge. It has to be singular, just one.
And this, right here, is where so many teams trip up. A goal is not your to-do list. Handle client issues isn't a goal. It's a task. It's just an activity. A real goal is a result, like maintain client churn under 5%. See the difference? One is just about being busy. The other is about actually achieving something. Okay, component number 2, obsessions. So if the goal is the what, the obsessions are all about the how. This is where we define the daily mindset. Your obsessions, these are the 1 to 3 deep down priorities that you want this role to live and breathe every single day. These aren't numbers you can just check off a list. They're more like ongoing, almost emotional commitments to a certain way of doing things.
And this is absolutely key. Obsessions are not numeric. They're all about shaping behavior and helping you make the right decisions in the moment. And that's exactly why you keep them super focused, just 1 to 3, so they can genuinely guide every action you take.
And this might just be their most important job. See, anybody can hit a sales target by, say, burning relationships or trashing the brand. Obsessions are your guardrails. They're the things you refuse to compromise on. They make sure you hit that goal the right way. All right, that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle, the scorecard. This is where that big, long-term goal and that daily mindset, this is where they meet the pavement. This is your weekly dashboard. So, the Win-the-Week Scorecard, it's just a super simple dashboard, maybe 3 to 5 key metrics. And its whole purpose is to answer one question every single week. Are the things we're doing right now actually moving us closer to that big 12-month goal? And the magic here is really in its simplicity and its rhythm. You check it weekly, it's just a few clear, measurable numbers. And, most importantly, every single number on that scorecard has to connect directly back to both that main goal and those guiding obsessions. Here's another way to think about it, just to make it super clear. The goal, well, that's like the final score at the end of the whole season. It asks, did we win the year? The scorecard, on the other hand, is like looking at the stats during the game. It asks, are we playing well this week? Okay, so theory is one thing, right? But let's actually see how this all snaps together with a real-world example. It'll make it all click.
Let's take a client success manager, a super common role. Their number one goal is crystal clear. Keep 95% of our clients over the next 12 months. That is the destination. It's a single, measurable outcome. Boom. All right, great. We know what they need to do, but how should they do it? That's where the obsessions come in. We want them obsessed with proactive communication, with thinking about long-term client health instead of just quick fixes, and with always closing the loop on open issues. So what's on their weekly dashboard?
Well, they're going to track the things that actually reflect those obsessions. Things like, how many proactive check-ins did we make? How many of our at-risk accounts now have an action plan? And what percentage of issues did we respond to within 24 hours? These numbers tell the real story of the week.
So this table here really just pulls it all together in one clean shot. You can see the goal is that 12-month outcome, the obsessions are your daily mindset, and the scorecard gives you those weekly numbers. Each one has a different job, a different time frame, and answers a totally different question.
And that's the whole system. When you put all three of these pieces together, you get total clarity. The goal is your destination, the obsessions are your priorities on the road, and the scorecard is that real-time feedback on your dashboard, making sure you stay on course.
So, let me leave you with one final thought. A question, really. If someone were to follow you around for a solid week, just watching every decision you make and every action you take, could they guess what your obsessions are? If the answer is yes, then you've got it. You have true clarity. And if not, well, now you know exactly where to start.